Hello there everyone. In today's tutorial I'm going to tie up something quite a bit different than what I usually tie. It's an articulated streamer called the Peanut Envy. I had a subscriber asked if I could tie one of these, and this is the first one I ever tied. I mean, I've tied a few articulated streamers, but this is the first time I've tied one of these. So if I stumble a little bit, just bear with me as we go. So I'll get this guy a device here. We'll get started. Okay, for the rear hook, it's a size 1. And these particular hooks I got off Amazon, and I can't quite remember what they were called. I think they were just called bass stinger hooks. So this is a size 1. And I'm using 210 Danville 210 denier thread, white. So we'll start a thread base here, right behind the eye. And we'll just wrap that back to the bend. Snip off the excess here. Okay, and then we'll come ahead a few wraps, and I'm going to take a little touch of Zappy Gap here and just put on those third wraps. Okay, now first is the excuse me, the first tail we'll tie in here, and we want that about the length of the hook here, so we'll tie that in. Just come around on top. And I'll wrap back on it a ways here till I get it just down the bend a bit. Just like so. There's our first tail. And then I'm going to carry forward on that marabou towards the eye. Just keep wrapping forward on it. Just like so here. Okay, and I'm going to trim that off. Okie dokie. Now we'll just tie all that down, just like so. Now I'm a little bit of flash in the tail of this guy, so I have 2 strands of copper flash, and I'm going to tie 2 in on each side. So I'll do 2 here on my side, and then I'll take the other 2 and fold them around so they come on the other side, just like so. Alright, so there we have a little bit of flash in the tail. 2 strands on each side. And I'll just cut those to the same length as the tail, or a little bit longer, it doesn't hurt. Okay. Okay, next we're going to tie in the hackle that's going to be palmered over the body. So I have a round saddle hackle here. You can tie this fly in a whatever color you wish. I'm just tying this one in, I guess you could say, a brown and olive theme, the 2 colors together. So I'll take my brown hackle here and tie it in by the tip, right in front of our tail here. I'll tie that guy down, just like so. Come back. Now I'm going to form a loop, dubbing loop, come up around, lock that in place, and I'm going to wrap back right to in front of the tail. And wrap forward to where I want to tie this off. Stop the thread there. Okay. Now I'm going to attach my little dubbing spinner here onto the loop. And I have some olive brown ice dub here. Some olive brown. I'm going to fill that loop up with that. And we're going to spin it up once I get it filled up here for the body. Okay, that should be fine there. Yeah, just make sure that's in there good before I spin it. Alrighty, now we're going to spin that up. So I'll give it a few twists here. Then I'll let go, let it spin. Do that a few times. Alrighty, now I'm just going to wrap the body. Just like so here. First wrap in front of our tail, then just carry forward and wrap that body up just like so here. Okay, alrighty, get about 2 more wraps I want on this guy. Alright, now we'll tie that off. So I'm going to come underneath and tie that dubbing loop off. Come in and snip that out. A few more wraps here. Alrighty. Now we'll take our hackle and we'll just palmer that forward. Just like so here. Till we get to the front here. Just going to grab that with my hackle pliers. Alrighty. Okay, now we'll tie that guy off at the front here. And release my pliers, a couple wraps forward, then I'm going to fold everything back. Wrap back on it, snip that excess out of there. Just like so, okay. Alrighty, now for the legs, I have some olive and brown barred rubber legs here. And I want 2 on each side, so I'm going to come in and put 2 on my side. Just like so, a couple wraps, get them on the side. Then I'm going to fold these ones around, bring them around on the other side. And there we have our 2 legs on each side there. Okay, obviously they're quite long, but we'll trim those later. Okay, now the wing. Okay, is another section of marabou here. And I got light brown marabou is what I'm using for the marabou. And we want that to come back about halfway on the tail here. And we'll tie this in right on top. Pinch that on. Just like so. And we'll take a couple wraps back. Secure that nice and tight. Just like so. And I'll come in and snip off the excess. Here I'm just going to give it a little twist before I snip it. Alrighty. And I'm just going to twist my thread up here a little, cord it up. And I'm going to come to the front and then we're going to build this head up here. Just like so. Alrighty. Alright, just about got it. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my whip finisher here. And whip finish this first section up, this first hook up rather. I'll get 4 or 5 turns here on this guy. Okay. Alrighty. Tighten that down. Come in and snip that off with my scissors here. Okay, I'm just going to take a little bit of Zap-A-Gap, create super glue. And just going to put a little touch on those thread wraps there. Okay. There we go. Alrighty, so there's our back hook done. So I'll remove this guy from the vise and set him aside for while we're working on the front section here. Now for the front hook, I have a size 1 bass stinger hook, and I've already got a cone, a nickel, black nickel cone placed on the front, medium size, and I have about 10 wraps of 0.30 lead wire pushed up into the cone. So now we'll start our thread here right behind the lead, and I'm going to work up on top of the lead, bring it back down again, and we're going to work that thread back to the bend here. Snip off the excess. Okay, we're going to come down the bend a little ways. Okay, now we're ready to attach our connection for the 2 hooks, and I have some articulation wire here. And what I'm going to do is tie this in right behind the lead on my side first, facing me. Keep it on the side of the hook. I'll wrap that back to where my thread stopped there. Okay. And I have 2 green beads here, and I'm going to just slip 2 green beads down on the wire, just like so. Get those placed on. Okay, now we're going to grab our rear hook here, put the wire up through, and back to the beads once again, Just like so. Now, this time we're going to wrap this on the, secure that on the other side of the shank. Like so, but I want to measure that up. Back off a little bit. I want to pull that till I got, what you want is just enough there so that your back hook can move, but you don't want it to foul hook the front hook. So you just check that and make sure you got lots of movement. That's fine right there where it is. So now I can secure that secure, nice and tight. Secure that guy down. That's fine right where he is there. I'm going to stick him back in the material clip here out of the way. Get that rear hook out of the way here for us. Alrighty, now what I'm going to do is wrap that forward to the lid. Then I'm going to fold that wire back and wrap back on it a ways, about halfway. And I got a pair of snips here. I'm going to come in and snip that out of there. Just like so. And where I folded that back, that's going to make that nice and durable so it can't pull out for sure. So, alrighty. Okay, our next step, I'm going to put a short tail on this guy, just enough marabou for the tail. It's more or less just to hide the beads there. So I'm going to tie that in. Just a little short section of marabou, just spread that around. Okay, check it on the other side, looks good. Now I'll wrap that forward. And we'll come in and tie that off. Or excuse me, cut that. Trim it off, I should say. Two up behind the lid. Alrighty. Now our next step is another hackle for the body. So I have another brown saddle hackle here. And I'm going to tie this in by the tip, same as the first one. Just going to stroke these fibers back here to get the tip ready to tie in. Okay. Now I'll tie this in by the tip. Same deal. Just like so there. Wrap that all down. Snip off the excess. Okay. Now we're ready for our second dubbing loop. So I'll take my finger, bring it up around. And a couple spins around the base of that. And we'll bring it back to right in front of our tail here. Then wrap it forward to where I want to tie off, just behind the cone. Okay, so next we'll attach my dubbing spinner once again. Okay. Attach that to the loop, and we'll grab some more olive brown ice dub. Same as the first hook, we're going to fill that loop up. And we'll spin it up once we get it all in there. We'll spin that guy up. Okay, that looks pretty good there. And maybe just a touch more. Just want to make sure I have enough. If I get it to cooperate here with me to go inside the loop. Alrighty, let's spin this guy up. Keep the tail out of the way there. Okay. Couple more spins on this guy, it should be fine. Alright, now we're going to wrap this same as the first hook. We'll go right in front of our tail here. Just carry forward. One wrap right in front of the next, just get good coverage over the shank. Just like so. Okay. And we'll come forward about one more wrap here. And I'm going to tie this guy off right there. Like so. We'll come in and snip him out. Okay. So that we're done with the dubbing parts here. Okay, next we're going to take that hackle at the rear, palmer that forward as we did on the first hook. Just getting all my tail fibers out of the way here. Okay, and we'll palmer this guy forward. Just like so here, till we get to the front. Right behind the comb, we'll tie this guy off. And a couple wraps, and I'll fold everything back, securing it, locking it in place. And I'll snip off that stem there. Alrighty. So next is our second set of legs, and the same deal. I'll wrap them in on my side first. Here I want 2 on each side. So I'm going to tie them on my side first, a couple wraps, and I'll swing those around. Wrap them on the far side. Just like so, wrap back on them. There we go, there's our second set of legs. Now, just going to wet that there so it stays down out of the way. Now, our last step is our wing here. Actually, we got 2 more steps, 2 more things here to do. So I'm going to get this piece of marabou ready. And we want that to come back to about the end of the tail here. Or even a little longer, doesn't hurt. And we'll tie that in right on top. Snug that down there. Nice and tight. And I'm going to come in and give that a little twist. Trim off the excess. Just like so. Tie that down secure. Alrighty, so one more step that I do is take a little bit more of that olive brown ice dub, and I'm going to spin a noodle on the thread here. Helps to wet your fingers, to makes it a little easier dubbing this ice dub, I find, or wet the thread rather. And I'm just going to spin a little bit of that on here to cover up those thread wraps. So we'll bring that in, wrap that on. Okay. Okie dokie. Just having trouble with my legs there. There we go. Alrighty. There we go. It's pretty much a done deal now. So what I'm going to do now is throw a couple whip finishes in and he'll be done. So I'm going to 3 or 4 turns there. It's one whip finish. Snug it down nice and tight. And before I do the next one, I'll drop a super glue there on those thread wraps. Okay, that's going to soak down in there behind the bead. Alrighty, there we go. Tight that nice and snug. And come in and cut the excess thread. Okay, there's another Peanut Envy. It's a very interesting streamer for sure. It's only the second one I've tied. It didn't turn out quite so bad. I had a subscriber who wanted me to tie one of these, so that's why I give it a go. So next thing is to trim my legs, so I'm just going to pull down here and trim these to the length I want. And I'll do the same on the rear hook here. Just going to grab all 4 legs at the same time. Trim those to the same length. There we go. Put that back in there. You can see it a little better. Well, there we go, folks. Done deal. And what I did on the first one, which I almost forgot I'll do on this one, is just take my little dubbing brush and pick out some of that ice dub on the front here. Just rough it up a little bit, make it a little buggier. And once I do that, I'll just take the brush and comb it back so it sort of blends in with the hackle and the marabou. Just like so. There we go. There. Done deal. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And like I always say, and for this fly too, if you got the materials, give this guy a go for sure. A very interesting fly indeed. So anyway, like always, I want to thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, happy tying out there, stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon, and so long for now, folks. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't yet. If you'd like to subscribe, appreciate that a lot.